means the atmosphere ends up being much thicker in comparison to the radius, which breaks how the scattering of a sunset works. Getting the scattering to look good, both from the ground and from space, turned out to be surprisingly tricky. One really nice side effect of the system, though, is that by tweaking the scattering constants, you can completely change the color of the atmosphere, which I'm sure will come in very handy later when it comes time to create alien worlds. As proud as I was of my beautiful block textures, I decided it might be a good idea to get a real artist involved. But this quickly exposed a technical challenge. Because of the way the engine works, every block in a chunk shares the same mesh. That means all block textures need to live inside a single texture atlas, with the shader shifting the UV coordinates so each block points to the correct part of that atlas. This technically works, but in practice, it would mean asking the artist to work inside a single 16,000 by 16,000 texture file, constantly rearranging textures whenever a new block gets added, which is not exactly a great workflow and prone to mistakes. And the problem only gets worse as the number of blocks grows. So instead, I built a custom edit tool.
No, that's not me.
This lets the artists work the normal way, with one texture per image, and then the tool automatically packs everything into a single atlas and updates the ordering so the correct textures appear in game. The result ended up working really well. The tool gets real-time updates whenever textures change, lets the artist preview tiling directly on terrain, and even exposes optional PBR maps and 2D controls. This means we can reuse textures with different color variations, saving both development time and memory. To go along with the block tools, I also built this structure editor. Structures are collections of blocks that can be placed into the world as a single object during generation. That makes it easy to create things like trees and buildings, which would be too difficult and expensive to procedurally generate from individual blocks. Together, these two tools really opened up the possibilities for PlanetSnet, and suddenly the planet started looking a bit more interesting. But if we fly it for a moment, you might notice something. The biomes are pretty random and uninspired. That was actually one of my main criticisms of Minecraft. Biomes can feel like they're just scattered randomly across the map. So my next goal was to improve the procedural world generation, and this time use the shape of the planet itself to our advantage. The first step was generating continents and islands. For the first planet, I wanted something fairly Earth-like, with large oceans and connected land masses. To do that, I built a recursive algorithm inspired a little by Conway's Game of Life, but with randomness added. Instead of cells being alive or dead, they represent land or ocean. Each step of the algorithm increases the resolution and decides whether new tiles should become land or water. Areas with more surrounding land are more likely to stay land, which causes continents to grow and stay connected, while still forming interesting shapes. Once the land masses were created, I moved onto biomes. But again, I didn't want them to be completely random. So instead, I built a simple climate model that predicts temperature and humidity across the planet. It takes into account things like distance from the equator, proximity to oceans, and adds a little bit of procedural randomness. The nice thing about this system is that it's
Today?
deterministic. If you generate a planet with the same seed number, you'll always get the exact same world.
Okay,
But
okay,
change the
okay.
seed and you'll get a completely different planet. Finally, I assigned the biomes based on the climate conditions, which means the
Okay,
world
wait, wait,
actually makes sense when you explore it. If you travel towards the
wait.
equator, you'll
Wait
find
1 second.
hotter
I